Hey, Dr. Kimberly, it says we're live.
Really?
I wouldn't lie to you, would I? Well, maybe.
Not Pastor Dave. No.
Hey, Scouts honor or fingers crossed. Or no, it says we're live.
Woohoo! Well,
on a Thursday.
On a Thursday, and it is April 29th. We are now exactly, 8 days out.
You are lying. It can't be April 29th. That means it's May in 2 days.
It is. And in 6 more days, past the 2 days, will be our 1-year anniversary of Dr. Kimberly and Dave rolling on the road.
It is. I'm just going to say, and it's then like 4.5 days from that fateful phone call. Folks, I'm just going to say, I made the mistake of calling Dr. Kimberly and I said these infamous words. Dr. Kimberly, we have to do something. You don't say those things to Dr. Kimberly because Dr. Kimberly does things, folks. You know that. You've seen it here for over a year. She just gets done. I don't want to say a word that I don't want Beth to have to fingerspell or sign, but she gets done.
Mm-hmm.
So here's today's lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Do not ever say to Dr. Kimberly, we have to do something unless you really want to do something. Because I'm just saying. So thank you, Dr. Kimberly, for
doing something.
Oh, doing something. And nothing, I mean, folks, today's show is going to be great. All our shows are great. Next week, though, cooking up some cool stuff for the anniversary special. And then, of course, in year 2, special surprises for Dr. Kimberly. Some of the things that she refuses to put on her bucket list. We're going to work on them here together. Rolling on the road, literally rolling on the road. But no spoilers. That's all I'm saying. Let's get to today's.
You guys already know it starts with a G.
Glitter. Glam. What?
Ping. You remember, what was that? The electric company when they were teaching you a word? It was like a swa, a swa, a swa, 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 a eep, a eep, a eep, 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 a swa, eep, swa, eep, sweep. So a glamp, a glamp, a glamp, 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 ing, a ing, a ing, ing, ing.
A tent. No, folks, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll talk to you in May about that.
Oh,
because we're going on the road with that show. Because we've been on the road with this show, Maryland to California to Georgia, Florida, the UP,
Texas. We've even
Texas.
Been to Texas. We have been to Wisconsin. We have been to, what's the other one next to Kansas City? Missouri. We've been to Missouri.
Missouri. Yes.
Yeah. We've been to New Jersey. We've been to Virginia. We've been to Florida. Wow.
We are doing some cool, fun stuff. And
a lot of places.
I'm just saying it is, I'm looking for some cool stuff here. But yeah, we stay tuned. But back to today.
Yeah, so as we begin to open up, and today we keep getting little snippets that the governor is looking to open Michigan back up, and that means we need to go back to disability decorum. Because they're hoping within the next 6 weeks or so that you will be able to go back into your building and work together. And so I think that we need to get a jump on it. And let's talk about disability decorum. Because now we have a new group of people who will come back. Those who are what they call long haulers from COVID. So not only will you have the regular disabilities, now we have our new disability of being a long hauler. And what does that look like when you still have symptoms, and making sure that we treat everybody with respect.
Because I mean, and the piece is only because it's right in front of me, treating people with respect.
Oh.
Folks, masks, vaccinate, spray, wash your hands. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
The hokey pokey.
It's
except for, no, we want you to put your whole body into disability decorum, not just, you know, a finger or a pinky or a toe. But
and I'm just saying, the Queen, RESPECT, right?
Yes.
That's what she's saying. So going from the hokey pokey to Aretha to folks, my head's spinning and the show's barely started.
So Pastor Dave, if people don't know already, isn't that one of, the services that your Center for Independent Living offers is disability decorum?
We do. You know, in the pre-COVID days, you know, we do 20 or 30 presentations a year. And we say presentation, it's not like repeat after me. It's there's the peanuts. So we've got the adults and Charlie Brown with us today. No, it's not that. It's not a list of, you know, here's how you approach somebody who's blind or a person in a wheelchair. It's a conversation about what is disability, what is it, and, you know, the basics of ask and listen. Like, you know, you know, as most people may have guessed by now, I kind of like some of the more humorous things, but also not afraid of the heavy, deep, and real. But there's some hilarious videos related to disability decorum. You know, there's this one, it's actually the Washington, D.C. city office on people with disabilities has this very powerful instructional video. But again, it just shows you like if somebody's somebody who's using a cane and they're opening the door and you go, oh, let me help you. And you open the door and the person was using the door for balance. And of course they go crashing. So exactly. So you ask, you say, hey, would you like some help? And if the person says no, you say, all right, cool. You know, but if they say yes, then you say, how can I help you? You don't assume that, you know, it's like, oh, here's this woman in a wheelchair. Let me push her, you know, and you're like, stop. It's like,
no,
exactly.
How about the sidewalk is not fixed and we're getting ready to hit a crack and you're going to tip me out of my chair?
Right.
That happens a lot. Because if you're pushing from behind, you can't see the cracks.
Exactly. Or you were like on your phone or you were doing something and then also it's like, you just spilled all my stuff, you know, my ounces of gold dust because I was putting some glamour on myself.
I'm just saying.
Glamour. I'm working on those G words today.
The G word.
Glamour. So yeah, I mean, again, so with our disability decorum, we've small groups, large groups, and we've done like whole corporate things with 400 people or so. And it is that opportunity to talk about disability. And I was talking with somebody earlier today that it's also like a safe environment to ask stupid questions. Because, right?
I love stupid questions.
What has been the stupidest question asked of you, Dr. Kimberly? I won't say the stupidest. What's a good one that comes to mind?
Oh, probably my favorite is, so where's your handicap van? I'm like, what?
I got.
And don't all y'all, don't all y'all have one of them kind of vans? Or are you gonna get on the go bus? I was like, no. So the first one was there were 3 go buses, and they were like, so which one of these go buses is yours? Which short bus are you getting on? I said, oh, I'm not getting on the short bus today. So then
I'm gonna go on the Land Rover.
and then it was like, okay, well, if you're not getting on the short bus, well, then where is your wheelchair van? I said, a who? A wheelchair van. I said, I don't know. And they're like, well, where's your vehicle? No, actually, it was, who's driving you?
It's like they just keep digging deeper and deeper. Stop digging. Stop digging.
It was never thought of that maybe I own a regular car and that I drove myself. And then just the response when I said, okay, there's my vehicle right there. And they were like, what the beep, 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 beep.
We have a lot of beeps in today's show.
And so then it went from, excited to be able to assist me, then to some sort of anger. How dare you have this type of car in the position that you're in? My expectation of you was not to, number 1, drive, number 2, not have a luxury vehicle. And so I don't know if I like this or not. Well, it's not for you to like or dislike. It just is.
And every ism comes with pages and pages and pages of ill-founded expectations and these just bad perceptions of things, it's, yeah.
Probably I think one of my other favorite ones when we talk about disability decorum was, we were at a gathering. I believe one of Disability Advocates of Kent County employees was leaving. So it was a farewell celebration. And of course, it's a no smoke in this particular building. And so there were 4 people who were gathered outside, off to the side, smoking. And as I was being wheeled out by a disability advocate employee, they went to their own car. I was getting myself together and was getting ready to roll over to my car. And these 4 people were all having this conversation as if I could not hear them, trying to decide whether or not they were going to help me. So they said, oh, okay, well, she just left her there. So what do you think we should do? I don't know. Well, are we supposed to ask her, or do we wait to see what she's going to do? I don't know. Do you know what we're supposed to do? I don't know. They're like, I don't know. So how about we just, we're just going to wait and see what happens. So maybe she's waiting for one of those, cute little buses to come along to pick her up. Maybe that's what she's sitting there for. And they're just having this conversation as I'm sitting here. And so I just politely look at them, and they're just like, oh, hey. And I'm like, hey. And I start to wheel away. And then they all look at each other like, so we're not going to say anything to her? So nobody's going to push her? What do you think we should do? Well, that lady was with her and she didn't push her to the car. So I guess we just sit here and we wait. So when they saw my vehicle that I was getting in, everybody's like, what? Beep, 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 beep. And I like classical music. And so I very politely, get myself in my vehicle. I let down all 4 of the windows, open up the sunroof, turn the music up really loud. I back out, and I back all the way back. I look at them and I said, you guys have a great evening and enjoy yourself. And I said, order the number 3. It's really great. And I rode off, and they were just like,
oh, goodness.
And so I think that just spoke volumes, because, the expectation again, she's a person of color. She's a person with a disability. And we look at the vehicle that she's in, and she got her own self in there, and she's driving. What were we supposed to do about that? Well,
Yeah.
number one, it would have been nice just for you to even, you could even just spoke and say, hey, how's it going today? It wasn't even that. It was all of this conversation that they were having as I was sitting there. And number one, you never even spoke to me, but you were having a conversation about me and making a decision concerning me without ever involving me. And I think number one of disability decorum, it should be, if we have anyone that works with us, plays with us, goes to church with us, or we have a business, how about we find someone and we have a conversation with them and we just get to know them? You know, one person with a disability doesn't know all the nuances of every single disability, but they can definitely give you a good start. And a good start would be, hey, how's it going? You know, hey, I like that purple chair. You know, that's a cool chair. I mean, just something, you know, just a quick icebreaker. You know, like, wow, really? Does everything have to match? Yes. You
Do
know,
you
but
know who I am? And that's that idea again. It's like, how do you react, or how do you interact with other humans? That's what people with disabilities long for. Is, you know, it's what one, and like a related thing I've been talking about recently with folks is, we also do a lot of work related to expanding public transportation for those that want or need that option. And I like to say the first thing we did to help people with disabilities get better public transportation is stop working for better public transportation for people with disabilities. We're working for better public transportation for everybody.
yeah.
And then of course the line we don't say is because people with disabilities are part of everybody. And because that part, then they think you have a bad attitude. But you know so this idea of people with disabilities are people first. Now, of course, not being a person with a disability, there's all, I prefer, and because I am in charge at Disability Advocates, we prefer person first language. Okay. The most important thing,
So that's a question that I'm always asked. And I'm glad that you said that. And we all, I think, I have several friends around the United States, and we get together and we have these conversations. And especially as women of color, how do we want to be identified? And especially those, I have a friend, she has her doctoral degree, I have my doctoral degree. And we say, do we want to lead out with our degrees and say, this is who we are? Do we want to lead out that with our color? Do we want to lead out with our gender? Or do we want to lead out with our disability? And I think we all have made the decision that it is a case by case basis.
yeah,
That it's not something that we can say this is the way that it always should be, because each case is different. I mean, look at you. What's the difference between you and I? You know, do you lead out as I'm just Dave? Or are you going to lead out as I'm Dave, who's the executive director of Disability Advocates of Kent County? Or is today a day where I'm going to lead out and say, I'm Dave, who is a Kent County commissioner? So you do it based on the situation. And so it's no different than persons with disabilities. We look at the climate and we say, who are we leading out? What are we doing in this moment? And who did you ask for?
exactly. Because then there's other friends of ours that when it comes time to, okay, it is relevant to talk about my disability or to, you know, use that label with myself. And some people would say, well, I'm a disabled person, and they want to lead with the disability.
Mhm.
Others say I'm a person with a disability. And some people like to say I'm disabled with a capital D, because that's a whole other conversation that we could have with
Yeah.
Beth if she was allowed to hang out with us other than interpret. Is that like the deaf community, capital D deaf as a culture, small d deaf as somebody who can't hear, and so again, there's all these different ways of looking at it. And to me, the cool part is, or the coolness happens when we have that open conversation, and we hear,
Absolutely.
when we hear, it's like, I never thought of it that way. I still like this way better. I'm not saying I'm not going to change my language. I totally understand, and I'm not going to try to correct you. I honor how you use capital D disabled. I'm a disabled person. I get it. I support that. At the same time, and yeah, because that's the whole other piece where I don't know if shameless plug for NBC, Zoe and her fabulous playlist or something. Do you ever watch that show, Dr.
Oh,
Kimberly?
I just watched them on the talk.
They did a fantastic show on race a month or so ago. And this guy who's the PR marketing person for this part of the company, he was just powerful. Again, because it's like the white female character said, well, I don't see you as Black, I just see you as Simon. And he just said, then you see less of me because I am a Black man.
Right.
And this idea of like, well, I'm colorblind. It's like, no, I see rainbow. I see Dr. Kimberly, and I honor that. We need that. And then it's like, back, if you think Dr. Kimberly is the only way to be Black in America, you haven't met Stanley, because Stanley is a different kind of Black in America, right? And it's just
Yes,
like,
it is.
that's like a small r structural racism, because there's like only one way to be Black in America, but there's a billion ways to be white in America, But
Absolutely.
and so yeah, it's just this people, we miss so much when we want to just put each other in these little boxes.
And I think that that's it. We want to pigeonhole people because that's what makes us feel better and it makes us feel comfortable. And then a lot of times I have my friends who have a disability that is not visible. And, but I like the word imperceivable, because if we say something is invisible, then it connotates that it doesn't exist. But say that to the person who has fibromyalgia. When they feel that pain, or someone who has lupus, or someone who has MS, and like today, it's rainy, it's a little chilly, and it's cold, and it affects your body. And I don't want for someone not to accept or receive me when I'm having a disability day, if you will, and treat me differently than someone, oh, well, she's blind, so we know she's got a disability, or she's in a wheelchair, or he's deaf, or he has autism. And so we want to put this label on what the disability is. And then those who fall in a category of, well, mine is imperceivable, then who am I? Where do I fit in? And do I want to self-identify in that way? Because I still want to be able to go out and get a job. I was on a panel a year ago. I think it's been about a year ago. And it was extremely disparaging to me because everyone on the panel had a disability. I was the only person who had a visible disability, and those who had imperceivable disabilities never stated that they had one, because they didn't want, we had an audience of about 1,500 people across the United States for this company. And they did not want to be seen differently by stating that they had a disability. So they were able to hide behind it. And so, I had some mixed emotions about that.
Absolutely. It's that idea of, um, the you hear the stereotypes, or every once in a while it's the TV show or a movie that a person can pass for white. Are they
Right.
black? Are they Indian? But they're like,
Or are they
and
Latino?
yeah, and it's like, well, because there again proves white privilege, folks. Why would you
Absolutely.
want to be, if you can get by? And so this idea of, and I was actually just talking with somebody earlier today about this, that like, what is a disability?
The ability not to perform or live or do or be what society has deemed is the norm. If I have to do it differently, or I'm at dis in and of itself is a prefix that we put before something that means I won't be able to do that. So if I'm advantage, if I put dis in front of it, then I'm disadvantaged.
Yep.
If I'm able to do that and I put dis in front of it, oh, now you can't do that. You're disabled. And I think the part that was the most disparaging for me during this conference is that we were speaking to more than 1,500 human resource directors across the United States. And we're telling them why they should hire persons with disabilities. And yet you have a panel, and 99.9% of them, because I'm the only one, because of course mine is visible, they're all not telling you that they have a disability, but they're saying to you, hey, you need to hire folks with disabilities, but you won't identify.
Right.
So make that
Right.
make some sense.
Right. It's just, because on the negative side of definitions, I love your definition. My simpler definition is a medical label that can be used against you.
And that's true.
Because it's, wheelchair user. Ooh, don't want that. Somebody with a mental health condition or mental illness, that it's like all those labels, even like cancer, cancer is a disability, has disabling characteristics, and it'll be used against you when you apply for employment, apply for insurance, and so it's like, why are we using this against people?
We've got some great folks listening here. We got Deborah Vick, who's watching from California. Hey, Deborah. We have Vertanji. She is in Detroit. We have Kimberly Holmes, who is in Chicago. Hey, Kim. We have Leroy Talbert, who is here in the Grand Rapids area. And we have Josh watching, who is down in Atlanta. So we are so grateful for you guys tuning in today. And our show, we're talking about disability decorum. Now that, for the state of Michigan, the governor is considering having people go back to the workplace. But not only do we have those persons who already had disabilities, but we have a new group who will be coming back into the workforce. And they are those who are considered long haulers that still have COVID symptoms. So they may still have that cough. And we all know that at the beginning of the pandemic, if somebody coughed, it was like cutting the light on in the kitchen and you got roaches. People were scattering. People scatter, it's like, oh my God, you coughed, you got the COVID. And it's like, no, I got allergies or whatever. They're like, yeah, allergies, my foot. Because most people who did have, COVID, the first thing they said was like, you know what, I got allergies. I just thought it was my allergies acting up. And before they knew it, they're already 10 days in, and now they're headed for the hospital, and it's critical because, again, those persons who take metformin for diabetes, it has some of those same symptoms, as COVID. So, people just weren't quite sure, but now we all know. But I think in the last couple of weeks, there's a few people that have gotten COVID that I know, and they all said the same thing. Yep, I just thought, the first 5 days, I thought it was my allergies acting up, until it's like, oh, wait a minute. I can't move. I'm never this tired. with just allergies. So something else must be going on. Oh, all right. Or then, they even found out, oh, okay, so-and-so said that they tested positive and we just hung out. So let me go get tested. Yep, I'm positive. But we're going to have this whole new group of people who are going to be in the workforce now as Michigan begins to open up. Some places never shut down. So I'm not sure how they are handling those who come back who are long haulers. But as a leader in teaching disability decorum, are you going to add into the conversation this new group of people with disabilities, those who are long haulers? What do we write for that? The other day, I heard on the news that, the president is going to have to put in some new language into our laws and into policies and procedures now that we are still in this pandemic. We're 15 months into it. Many countries now are being hit by their third and fourth wave. And Canada has been shut down now for 3 weeks. They're expected to be shut down for another week. And there's many Americans who travel back and forth across the border. As we try to put together our new normal, what are you going to add in that disability decorum now?
The piece is definitely some resonance with one of those labels you noted earlier with fibromyalgia.
Yes.
It's very similar in the sense that, again, we've had Father Mark on a couple of times,
yes,
who has long haulers. And when he crashes, again, he's feeling good, he's looking good. And then all of a sudden he's still looking good, but he's crashed. He's like, oh, I'm in terrible pain, and you can't see pain. So, and so it continues to be this, again, this respect, this trust, grace, because of course, we're just going to say it here, he's Father Mark. And if Father Mark says, oh, I'm feeling painful, I've got to go lay down, most people are going to say, oh, Father, go take care of yourself. Somebody's working at the grocery store.
I'm a cashier at Meijer. I'm
exactly.
a long hauler, and it's like,
exactly.
I've been on my feet for 6 hours. I can't do anymore. My body's ready to shut down. I think that was one of the things that he talked to us about, is maybe he used to work an 8-hour day. He can only do a 6-hour day. And that's with medication. So he is in a clinical trial. So if you are a long hauler, there are several clinical trials that are out there. I believe Michigan has 3. There is 2 that are in Chicago. We don't have all the information. I know he just kind of listed them. Maybe we can go back to that show and pull them up. But there are certain criteria that you have to meet in order to be in the clinical trial. But he was able to get some medications. And even with the medications, he said he can only do maybe a 6-hour day.
Yeah. And so that opportunity, folks, if you're listening and you're having issues with your employer, because another running theme, the reason why we started the show, or our impetus, is we're all disabled now because we all can't go where we want. And this idea of, how many times have we only slightly half joked about, oh, you can't work from home. That's not an acceptable accommodation. That's not possible. Now everyone's like, hey, I want to keep working from home. And employers are like, oh, what do we do? Because people realize that some folks are even more productive from home. So all that being said, it's, if you're having issues with accommodations or lack of accommodations, call us at Disability Advocates, 616-949-1100. We have a staff person that works on those issues with folks. And we go at it from the perspective of problem solving. And if the problem doesn't get solved, we do refer folks to attorneys. But it is this idea of, as you've said a few times today, and I've said for a long time, Dr. Kimberly, we have a whole new group of people with disabilities who are now survivors of COVID. And they're, I don't want to predict terrible things in the future. What's going to happen a year or two from now? I mean, I had COVID last November. I feel fine today. Is there an additional ticking time bomb for me? Again, I don't know. Nobody knows. As we said last week, COVID's only a year old. Science doesn't know. They know a lot because we put a lot of effort and resources in it, but we don't know what's the 5-year impact of COVID. We don't know. It's only been here a year.
Right. Some of the things that are floating around is it mandatory for an employer to say, hey, you have to be vaccinated in order to work here? Well, they use it on the premise that if you want to volunteer and work around other people, you have to have a TB test done and make sure that comes back negative. So we know that that's something that's going to be implemented, that before you can, I know now with the medical community, I had a procedure on Monday and it was mandatory that I have a COVID test, and I got whew, she went into my sacred places in my brain. I was like, ooh. And she says, and we have to do both of them. I said, well, are those separate brains and over this side to this side? I mean, I thought they was all working together. I didn't know. But we laughed and we made a joke, and it happened and we did it. And I was able to go and have my procedure. And it is something that the hospital is implementing. And they said from now on, it will always happen. Just like before, they did not have medical updates. You would have to sit in a waiting room. Now they do text messages. And I mean, it's in real time and it is extremely thorough. It's almost as if you were speaking with a person. And so these are changes that have been implemented within the hospital world, which they say we are going to continue to keep regardless of, the change, because we said, oh, wow, this worked. It looks good. It feels good. And I think it's something that we need to do. But I guess my concern really is, how are we going to really integrate ourselves back together with so much skepticism and so many unanswered questions? I mean, I feel at times like, oh yeah, okay, we just got used to having to have somebody around here that's blind or someone who's deaf or someone who's in a wheelchair. Now we got to have somebody that's going to be hacking and coughing on us and and can't work a full day.
And those issues again, folks, I mean, I would hazard the opinion that you will be considered a person with a disability under the ADA. And the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, requires this interactive process between employer and employee to figure out what is the best way to get the job done and what kind of accommodations are needed and all of those things. Call us, call your local Center for Independent Living, ask for that help, get a hold of your vocational rehab agency in your state. In Michigan, we got 2, Michigan Rehab Services and the Bureau of Services for Blind Persons. Ask for that help because, again, help's out there. It is not a sign of weakness to ask for help if you need it.
I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in there, Dave. So I've had COVID. I'm considered a long hauler, not myself personally. I'm just saying that we have this person now who has survived as a long hauler. There is nothing on the books or nothing in place. I mean, us regular folks with disabilities
right,
are finally getting some things. So I say, again, like you said at the outset of this show, if you don't want to really do something, don't ask me. So you know what I'm getting ready to say.
I'm going to block the monkey wrench, but you say it.
Right? I think that we need to start talking to Senator Brinks. I think that we need to start talking to State Rep Tommy Brand and saying, hey, look, you guys, we need to start getting some bills out here on the floor. We're going to start supplying you with some language as to what this looks like now.
And definitely that. And, what's been good about the federal COVID stuff from my perspective is like, the extra sick days, the time again that, and it's paid for by the federal government, or, our taxes are paying for it. It's not like an unfunded mandate, so how do you, if a person's off because of COVID or caring for somebody with COVID. However, the good news about the ADA, so I'm trying to block the monkey wrench, because the ADA 30 years ago didn't list the disabilities. It didn't say, here's what's a disability, because again, we don't know what tomorrow will bring, because, yeah, I mean, 30 months ago, we didn't know, well, we knew what COVID was. It's funny because it said the coronavirus, like, I mean, a coronavirus has been around for a long time, but COVID-19, what's that?
I said, that's what they said.
Yep. But COVID-19 was the one that came at us and created the pandemic. That being said, the ADA says a disability is an impairment that substantially limits a life activity. And let's just say a life activity can be breathing. So if you have trouble breathing, that is a major life activity.
Yes.
If standing, walking. So if you're limited because of this impairment, which is the COVID or long haulers, and they'll probably come up with a cooler name than long haulers one day. They'll call it, they'll give it some doctor's name, right? The 2020 pandemic-itis. So, so you'll have that, but again, okay, they don't pay me. They don't pay me to name things.
No.
So, but the good news is the ADA does not have a list of disabilities, and you go, oh, we're sorry, wheelchair users not on the list. It's not, because there is no list. But no, if you have this physical impairment, that's sensory, that is impacting a major life activity, that's gets you covered by the ADA. Or having a history of such a disability. That's the part that people don't understand, that like a history. So like, oh, you had COVID last November, Dave. We don't want to hire you because you might, have some relapse. And then the third part of the ADA, which almost no one ever utilizes, is that if people treat you as if you have that impairment, because AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome,
yes.
AIDS is it's a disability. And if we started a rumor, Dave has AIDS, and all of a sudden the board here says, well, Dave, we're sorry, we're going to move on. We need a new leader. But because they heard this rumor, I don't have AIDS, I don't have a history of having AIDS, but they treat me as if I did. So the rumor could be, Dr. KImberly's a long hauler. We don't want to hire her because she's gonna, who knows, some afternoon she's not going to show up because she says she's tired. Let's not hire Dr. KImberly. And you're like, I'm not a long hauler, but you're treated as such. The ADA will cover you there. So because folks, if you're being or what's the right way? If you're being negatively impacted because of your disability or what other people limit or think is a disability, call us. We want to help you.
Absolutely.
Because that's putting the spotlight on, I'm just going to say it, ignorant thoughts, ignorant behavior. We want to do together, because that's how we're going to get through it. Both COVID as well as these really terrible perspectives of disability.
And that's what we're here to do, is help to dismantle the perception of disability, So
I was just looking at the clock, Dr. KImberly.
I know it's 4:43 already.
Rambling. And I was looking over here to my other screen because I was, I pulled up some cool stuff, and I'm just going to share it because I have to. This is one of my favorite things that I like to talk about. Which one do I want to open up here? All right, here we go, Dr. KImberly. Do you see my cool equity slide?
Oh, I love it.
See, and other people talk about this equity slide, and I love it too. You know, it's like, here's equal, each kid gets a box, but this little kid still can't see, and the tall kid sees really well. And then this idea, of course, you know, we'll get to, if you tear down the fence, we don't need to worry about boxes. But here's equity where, you know, the middle height child only needs one box and the short child needs two. So there's an equitable distribution and all three get to see the game. But the challenge becomes when we got to grab that. And now, do you see my really cool wheelie guy there?
There's the wheelie guy.
This is what happens when people see Dr. KImberly. They're like, oh my gosh, we don't need 2 boxes. We need 4 boxes and we need a long, expensive ramp, right?
Yeah.
That's where people get real jittery about disability because they think it's going to cost a lot of money. And that's why, of course, if you tear down the wall or the fence, which we call universal design, you don't need ramps and boxes. Everyone gets to see the same. So that is just some images that we can break apart in a future show. Because again, disability is going to cost me money, right? Wheelchair ramps, bigger bathrooms, different size table heights in my restaurant. It's just like, really? But if with universal design, again, folks, today is like all these flashbacks. Dr. KImberly watching the family with twins, pushing the stroller through with the blue button. Perfect use of that button. You know, that was built for Dr. KImberly, but it was awesome for the family. Who's there spending their money? At the store. You know,
We all were.
We all, well, not me. I hate stores, but that's a different story. You can, this was a gift. That's how I get new clothes. I don't buy them, but I digress. So anyways, folks, if you're building the world for everybody, it is the right thing to do. And oh, by the way, you're going to make more money. I'm just saying, you're going to make more money. I'm just saying, do you want Dr. KImberly and Stanley to come to your restaurant for dinner, spend some of their money there? You got to have a ramp.
I'm a really good tipper.
You got to have a ramp.
Yeah.
You got to have,
I put a $50 bill on the table and like, you can have this if you wait on me at the end of the day, but I need to have some really great service. Yep.
And folks, you know, we've been to those places together and hanging out and knowing that, folks, and yeah, just all these shameless plugs for disability advocates, because if you're building something, remodeling something, call us because we want to help to make sure you're doing it right. Because when you pour concrete, it lasts a long time. So if you make a mistake and it's really hard to fix concrete, you either have to tear it out and do it again. And that's real expensive. So a couple moments and a couple bucks, we can provide that support and advice so that you're going to build the most inclusive space possible and you're going to make more money. Who cares that you care? What's that?
I said they're going to get old one day.
They're going to get old one day. Where you
I always say,
I'm old now.
You know what? You are either disabled temporarily, situationally, or permanently. So when you make a decision and with the least thinking of the least excluded, then you've included everybody. So we want to say thank you. This was just the tip of the iceberg.
I'm just my last pitch. I usually, you know, I say thank you and I be quiet, but my last folks, I can't wait to year 2 with Rolling on the Road because we're vaccinated and we're really going to be rolling on the road. So we've got a soul food place in Muskegon to go to.
Yes.
I mean, we've got a lot of places to go to, and we're going to take you with us. I can't wait till year 2, but we're almost there. So Dr. KImberly, it's been so much fun and insightful and challenging hanging out with you.
And can you believe it, as we said at the outset, that we are on our countdown to 1 whole year with Rolling on the Road, with Dr. Kimberly and Dave, and what a road it has been. Yeah, in the middle of a
Awesome.
pandemic. So we want
I,
to say thank you. This is the end of the week. We are putting a period here. You guys enjoy yourself. If you haven't been vaccinated, please sign up. If you have never been tested, please get yourself tested. And don't forget to mask up.
do it for yourself, do it for your neighbor, do it for your family, do it for your friends.
And this mask says that I'm proud to serve my country. Mask up, hashtag mask up, and it's got Lady Liberty on there. So it is your patriotic duty to protect us from all, harm. And that little virus is harming us. So we need to make sure that we protect ourselves. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Look forward to seeing you on next week as we have some wonderful guests as we celebrate our 1-year anniversary. See you guys. Until next week, stay safe.